Hello everyone, welcome to the last video. If you're watching this and you've found me out and this is the last video on the channel, it's because this is the last. In 2012, I made some incredibly risky decisions in order to create a career in Starcraft 2 content creation. I basically just barely got by, on just enough money to survive, and that lasted for about 6 years or so. Made a hotkey layout called the Core with a very close friend of mine, and we developed a community around it. It was very cool. But all of this is now over. I'm going to get into why. At some point in this video, this is going to be a very rambly video as well. I kind of have a basic outline about what I want to talk about. And then we're going to say goodbye. And we're going to talk about basically what that means. So Starcraft 2 announced that they're not doing any paid-for content. They're only doing necessary balance patches. They surrounded it with 3 or 4 paragraphs of PR speak, which made me puke in my mouth a little bit. But I'm fine now. It's very sad. It's very sad. What's more sad than that is that a lot of us knew that this was coming. Luckily for the Starcraft 2 community, we didn't get abandoned quite so aggressively as the Heroes of the Storm community did. But make no mistake, once the remaining 2 years of funding for ESL Starcraft tournaments dries up, that's it. Right now, all the Starcraft 2 teams and teamless players are in deep shit. New sponsorships are not going to come in. Like, hey, we'd like to sign a sponsorship for a game that's not going to be developed or improved anymore, and that isn't going to get developer support. And sponsor says, oh, well, I could have all these other options, bigger audiences and developer support. What are you trying to sell me on here? And maybe the very savvy and the very hardworking individuals in the StarCraft 2 community and the esports space will be able to secure new sponsorship. But it's probably going to dry up in 2 years from now. And so it's hard for me, for this and for other reasons, it's hard for me to justify spending more time making content on the game. And I haven't really made content in StarCraft 2 for a long time, right? I've been working on a new RTS. Speaking of which, I think it was 2 days after the announcement of StarCraft 2, Activision basically, kicking StarCraft 2 to the curb. There was an announcement of Frost Giant Games. And Frost Giant Games is headed by one of my favorite people in the RTS space, Tim Morton. He's a great guy to talk to, very reasonable, very calm, just has a great presence. And I'm sure a lot of you guys noticed that on the Pylon show, with little comments of man, Tim needs to open his own YouTube channel, ASMR YouTube channel or something. It's a fun meme. But yeah, dude's great. And he shepherded StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void, which is, in my opinion, the best expansion for StarCraft 2. And so I've got to talk to him over the years as a StarCraft 2 influencer. And I am super pumped. The other 2 guys that I know at Frost Giant that I'm super pumped about are Ryan Shooter, who made GameHeart, and Monk, Kevin Dong. I've just called him Monk for so long that I keep forgetting what his real name is. has been doing co-op for quite a while in the Starcraft 2 space, and I recently learned that he was also doing balance when de facto, right? So he didn't get balancer title or anything. It's just he was just doing it because nobody else was. And since co-op has come out in Starcraft 2, that's where the most interesting designs, quality of life improvements, all that kind of stuff have gone. And it's been really cool to watch the StarCraft 2 co-op scene evolve. And I've gotten a lot of neat ideas from studying the StarCraft 2 co-op. And so, so they've got a great team, and I'm very excited for what they're going to come up with. And this is maybe a little bit strange for people, because I am also making an RTS with a different game company called SunSpear Games. And you might think, oh, well, shouldn't you hate and despise the Frost Giant games because you're in competition? And I think the answer to that is no. Ultimately, the StarCraft 2 player base is like 2 million players. And we all care very much about those 2 million people. And we want to give them a place to have fun and play RTS. We're also very much aligned on utilizing games for good, creating non-toxic gaming cultures, and bringing RTS into the mainstream, which, woo, spooky stuff. Don't get too spooked. I know it's spooky. And so I believe that Frost Giant and SunSpear are going to open up the RTS space for millions and millions of new players. That's aggressive. It's exciting. It is what it is. And so basically, I came to the conclusion after a bit, after thinking some things through, that I'm kind of done with StarCraft 2. And so I'm kind of done with JaKaTaKtv. In the beginning, I was aggressively seeking success, and that means as an influencer, seeking fame and attention. And ultimately, I don't think that fame is a goal for me anymore. It used to be, especially when I was in my 20s. Being known was a big goal. It was important. I wanted people to know who I was, and I wanted to make an impact on people's minds. And I have some of those goals still, but I'm just going to be working towards them in a different way, in a non-public way. I don't think it's a great time to be a public figure. And I don't know if there ever was a good time for it. There's a large cost. There's a large cost to it. And, I've had death threats. I've had people wish cancer on my family. I've had people scroll through my social media and try to get me in trouble, get me canceled. I've had people, and this is not to say that this is my sort of unique problem and I'm complaining about it. It's simply something that comes with scale. When there are 100 people who know who you are, okay, that's sort of fine. You got pretty good odds none of them are going to be, sociopaths. But then you get to 1,000 and 10,000, 1 million, and it grows. And I've been hanging out basically right on the edge of being important enough to have an impact in the StarCraft 2 community, but not being so important that people are coming after me in any way. And so I think it's a good time to stop. I think it's a good time to sort of back away. And I've been thinking about this for a very long time. I'm going to link the article or post or whatever. Tim Ferriss wrote a little bit about this. And I listened to some podcasts about this, about the hey, fame may seem like this awesome thing to seek, but it's actually not great. Watch out for it. And so over the past like 2 years, I've been looking for the right time to transition out of the public space in that way, as JaKaTaKtv. And so that's what I'm doing. I'll be stepping back on social media a bit. I'll be really, really focused. I guess I'm not going to be stepping back. I might even be more active on social media, but I'm going to be really focused on RTS and promoting RTS and trying to create new RTS interested folks, because I think it's an incredible exercise for your brain. That's also really fun. It's basically the mental version of playing a recreational sport with your friends. And I want to export that to the world. I want as many people to have the experiences that I've had, to be able to have the opportunity to learn the things that I've learned through playing RTS and making sort of allusions to my life. Starcraft taught me what opportunity cost is. Starcraft taught me the perfect is the enemy of the good. It taught me how to have balance. Starcraft taught me not to go in blindly, to scout, to look ahead, to make a plan, to gather information. And all sort of stuff that I was a little bit predisposed to already for my personality. But Starcraft really hammered a lot of those points home for me. And I would not be the person that I am without Starcraft. I would not be in the place that I am. I would not have the skills that I've developed and the perspective that I have on my life without Starcraft. So it's really sad to see it go, but that's okay, right? It's been around for a very long time. Once the money runs out, we'll be at 12 years of StarCraft 2, I think, right? 2010, to 2022, 12 years. It's a good run. And I don't think it's going to go away completely. I think that it'll settle into a space probably below Brood War, I would say. I think Brood War maintains its scene and its activity primarily because of South Korea and the infrastructure that was set up there for Brood War back when it was the esport, when it was, the only game in town, aside from maybe like Quake and CSGO. Oh, CS 1.6, whichever one it is. And so I think that we're in desperate need of an update. We're in desperate need of a game that can be accessible to new players, but can also have all of the stuff that we love about StarCraft 2 at the high end. All the stuff we love about watching StarCraft esports. And making evolutions and having experiments and multiple game formats. I think, the next 10 years or so are going to be a really good time for RTS fans. Frost Giant's going to come out with their game, and it's going to be great. We're going to come out with Immortal. It's also going to be great. We're going to learn things from them. They're going to learn things from us. We're going to compete. And ultimately, RTS fans win. There'll be a lot of options and ideas, and the incentives will be aligned for people to be really taking care of their players and listening to feedback and, producing really great games that everybody wants to play. So yeah, that's where I'm focusing my energy on now. And so you might see me in public spaces for SunSpear at conferences or, developer updates or things like that. But, yeah, most people slowly disappear from the scene and become invisible. I'd like to say goodbye. to StarCraft 2. It has been fantastic, and I'm ready to start the next chapter of whatever it is I'm going to be doing with my life. And I want to thank everybody for supporting me over the years. The number of the names of the people are too long. We'd be here forever if I was listing them all. But you know who you are. I've had an amazing experience in the StarCraft 2 ecosystem. I've been incredibly lucky. I've been able to cast. I've been able to make tutorial videos. I worked for Machinima for a while doing esports content there. It's all these opportunities that I would never have gotten if I didn't have the support from you, from the people here watching this video. If you want to hang out, if you want to say hi, I will be in all the SunSpear channels and all the SunSpear Discords and all of that. So I'll still be in the RTS space, but my name is Tom, and I hope to see you guys around.